Hey everybody, this is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. I am here with former MLB player Cory Aldridge. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm awesome. How are you guys, man?
Ah man, I can't complain. Can't complain. It's a nice, beautiful day out in Seattle, so very blessed. So,
Seattle.
yes, sir. So, anyways, tell me a little bit about what you're doing right now, as far as just adjusting to the pandemic and watching some of the sports.
I've been pretty fortunate here. I'm in Houston, Texas, Houston, Katy, Texas. So I've been pretty fortunate with the COVID, the pandemic, I guess. Here in Texas, we've been good and bad. We've been pretty lenient, but I've been able to keep working with the kids, trying to keep distances and things like that. But for most of you guys, if you do know me, I train kids from 7 years old to major league players, coaching baseball, basically. Outside of baseball, there's other things that I do, but just stick with baseball. I predominantly focus on hitting. Hitting is my passion right now, and also just hoping I can help kids and parents to try not to fall through some of the cracks and the downfalls of players that before them, or even guys like me that try to avoid the problems that you can have in sports. I haven't watched much sports as of late. I've just started getting on the baseball a little bit. It's tough. It's different. It's different sport, but it's different without fans. I did watch a lot of Korean baseball. I think this guy's about to get this leaf blower out here. I'm trying to get him, make sure he don't come over here. But I think I might have to go inside. But yeah, I watched a lot of Korean baseball this year. I played in Korea. I loved it. But it's pretty interesting. It's kind of fun to watch. But other than that, I've been just working with these kids, man, pretty much 6 or 7 days out of the week.
So what does it mean to you that you could be a positive influence for these kids that you help out?
Say it again.
What does it mean to you that you could be a positive role model and have a positive influence on the youth?
For me, is really just giving them positive game to work with. A lot of times I had this conversation this morning. You can't have positive without negative, and vice versa. So you've got to be able to give them both sides. I hate to, with some of my kids, especially high school kids, they talk about a lot of things even outside of baseball. It could be girls, drugs, parenting, school, stuff like that. And so I try my best to come from a non-biased point of view and just saying like, hey, you have a girl here. This is what can happen. This is what can happen. I'm not going to say go either way. Make your best decisions, because at the end of the day, they're going to make their best decisions. But really just want most of my players to be able to critically think and make good decisions, and hopefully want more out of themselves than just to exist. Close my dog after this room. Killing me, man.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Nah, so tell me a little bit about your sports journey in the MLB, man. I know you played for the Atlanta Braves for some time.
So I was drafted out of Abilene, Texas. I went to Abilene Cooper. I was 17 years old. So for United States especially, that's pretty rare. I was drafted. My dad was a football player, so athletically I had major talent. My biggest thing in pro ball was just staying healthy. I had a lot of physical ability and a lot of things mentally that I didn't have is what I try to get over with my players today. I didn't have the mental makeup to when I first started. Luckily, I was around guys like the Greg Maddoxes and Chipper Joneses, so I got a lot of quote unquote game from those guys. But the one thing I wish I had here more was just mental toughness, reading, things like that, like being more of a reader and more of a searcher of truth. Now I'm more that guy. Back then, I just wanted to have fun and play, and I didn't start taking it seriously until about until I was almost 28 years old. But I got drafted by the Braves in 1997. I was a high round pick. I was 4th round pick. I got my little first cup of coffee with the Braves in 2001. Immediately after that, or even that year, I got hurt. I ended up having a shoulder surgery the next year. I rehabbed for a couple years. Dude, I retired like 3 times during my career just because of injuries. And then I just kind of persevered and came back. I really wasn't done playing. I had 2 Achilles surgeries, 2 shoulder surgeries. I was fortunate enough to be able to play in Korea, Venezuela, Mexico. Made a lot of connections and friends there, did a lot of damage there. But my career was 18 years of professional ball. But even with my limited Major League Baseball playing time, I really wouldn't. There's not a lot of things I would change. I'd like to have a little more money, but there's not a lot of things.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, you know what I mean. But like, there's not a lot of things I would change because I came up in an era, 3 different eras. I ended up with the Trout era. I had Barry Bonds, McGuire, guys like that, Griffey, in the 3 eras that I played in. So I was fortunate enough to play with and against the crap ton of Hall of Famers. Man, it was good, man. I don't think people really realize the magnitude of being a Major League Baseball player and what it kind of entails. But it is definitely a dream. Now, I will say this: the one thing is tough right now with Major League Baseball now is too much media. So I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much as I did back then. But the money's better. So that's the
So I know you just mentioned Barry Bonds. And your personal aspect, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? Why or why not?
Yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't, people are going to use the steroid thing in his case. Now, here, there's 1,000 ways to view it. I'll view it this way. Steroids didn't start in 1990. They didn't start They didn't start 2000. They've been around since day one. I was fortunate enough to have coaches when I first started playing that played in the 1950s and things like that. They were around back then. We've been given this perception that because baseball is America's pastime, that it doesn't have flaws. Cheating is not new. Like I said, steroids and drugs is not new. Babe Ruth was doing certain things. If you go really read about him, the things that he would take and do it before games and stuff like that, he wasn't this patron saint of baseball. At the end of the day, he was kind of a bad guy. Like, he hit a baseball. He was womanizer, all types of stuff. But when it comes to Barry, even before his allegations, his numbers were Hall of Fame numbers. So if he, I think they said like 2004 or something like that was like his year for, because I think it's about 2004 we started getting steroid tested. So 2003 or 4, even then he already had over 500 home runs and had a career average of 300 and RBIs and stolen bases. He was 500 or whatever it was. So however you want to view it, yeah. The biggest thing that I would say that probably holds Barry back, and this is just from my personal knowledge, at least what I think I know, is he just wasn't the nicest guy to the media. And I think that's just kind of their idea of getting him back. But I mean, there's McGuire, all those guys. I don't know if you want to put an asterisk there, put an asterisk. But at the end of the day, the one thing I can say definitely about Barry is that his Hall of Fame numbers he already had Hall of Fame numbers pre-steroid allegations. That's just kind of my view, and it's tough to hold a man that's done that much good in baseball. So I'm trying to hold him back.
So what advice can you give some of these young guys that are looking forward to getting to that next level? What advice can you give them about, just staying true to themselves, not allowing the perception of, the trend of what's going on out there?
You said it, be true to yourself, man. Be honest with yourself. Like, at the end of the day, you have to understand that sometimes you're probably not as good as you think you are. The problem I see with the youth right now is, especially the high school kids, is when you correct them, they feel like you're hating. And it's like, no, I'm correcting you because I'm watching you go down a path maybe that is not going to help you in whatever you're trying to do. Like, you're hitting and I'm telling you to change your hands, you automatically think I'm hating versus accepting that information and maybe trying to use it or figure out if it's correct. A lot of us also take too much advice and don't trust ourselves. I'll tell guys all the time, dance with what brought you there. Like, when I got to pro ball, I was a great hitter. And then I started listening to coaches because they were major league ball players. And it screwed me up for a while. Like I said, I had a couple of injuries, had some throwing injuries, things like that, trying to listen to other coaches tell me what to do. And then once I started saying I don't care as much, when I tell kids all the time, don't care, don't worry about getting out. Don't worry about making mistakes. Embrace the mistakes, because sometimes you win some, sometimes you learn some. And those mistakes, you can learn from those mistakes. If you strike out, guess what? I'm sure it sucks. But how did you strike out? What was the 3 or 4 pitches before that? What did you learn from that at bat? And once you realize that making outs is part of the game, you can become a better player. But my biggest thing for all these guys, man, is get a great work ethic and be honest. Like a lot of us, I posted something yesterday or today, it might be yesterday, but I think it was today, about people that want professional results, but have basically backyard work ethic. And a lot of kids, man, I see a lot of very physically talented kids, but they feel because they play a couple tournaments, have a couple good games, that they've already made it. They're just comfortable being on a team versus looking at 2 or 3 or 4, setting small goals and looking a couple years ahead of saying, okay, listen, I want to be the best high school player. I want to be the best college player. And if so shall be it, I want to be a pro ball guy. But we got to be able to set goals and be realistic, because at the end of the day, you're going to suck sometimes. And like, it's great players want to know if they suck. Your average player doesn't want to hear anything, and good players are like, okay, I'll learn something. But, be a guy that's open to getting uncomfortable to change for the better.
So I know you said you had to endure a couple injuries. How did you overcome that aspect just by, having that mental capacity to like say, hey, even though, I had this injury, I'm overcoming that. So how did you overcome it?
Well, number one, I never took the perception of, well, God doesn't want me to have this, or, it's the door's closed, it's not meant to be, or that's a sign. I never looked at it that way. Number one, I didn't overthink it. I didn't know any better. It was like, okay, I'll get healthy and play. But I never really lost ability. So like, even when I got quote unquote healthy, even though I came back too early, sometimes I could still hit. I still had something to offer. So like, they made it easy because it was like, okay, well, you're healthy. Hey, can you swing the bat? So I always had that. But really, it was just perseverance. I had a pretty decent support system, friends and parents. And that was just really my goal. My goal was, I wanted to get a major league hit. I wanted to, and that was really my thing. It was just, I wanted to get a major league hit. So that was my drive. I didn't really care about anything else after my first couple of injuries, because in 2002, when I had my first shoulder surgery, they told me I'd never play again. And, for me as a 22-year-old kid, that's a tough one, when that's all you really know. And kind of coming from the neighborhood I come from, and, the background that I have, it's like, I didn't really have, a business and financial wealth to fall back on other than what I had from being drafted and signed. But, I wasn't going back to much saying, oh, well, I can go back from baseball and go back and do this. It was more or less, I need to make this. And it was just more trying to stay focused, putting things in perspective, and just, again, the biggest thing was just having a lot of good people around me. Like, even my best friends, and I had friends that were kind of in the drug game and stuff like that, but they never let me go down that path. They were doing something that might have been nefarious. They would say, hey, man, listen, we're hanging out this weekend. You can't come because of this, this, and this. Dead serious. Like, and I talked to one of my friends this morning. Like, we talk about it all the time. So, like, and they're out of it now. But, like, at that time, it was like, hey, man, we're over here doing this. Don't come. And I respected that. So, but at the end of the day, they're always like, hey, how about you go to the cage, go work, go do this, go do that. Make sure, because to them it was, they wanted me to represent them. And that's kind of what it was, like my support system, even with my friends.
So tell me a little bit about your first experience and first game in the MLB, man.
So I'll just tell you about my call-up story. So I was in Double-A, and I had a whole season full of injuries, man. I was on and off the disabled list like every month because I had a shoulder injury, and I was trying to play through it. I was taking a bunch of cortisone shots, just doing a bunch of stupid stuff to keep me in the lineup that I probably should have been doing. And it was one of the last, like, end of the season, kind of sorta, and I get to the clubhouse, and my manager, my name's not on the lineup. And I'm like, I play every day. If I'm healthy, I play every day. And he's like, and it's supposed to be like kind of in the playoffs too. So I was like, I know I need to be playing. And he walks me in the office. He goes, hey, I need you to come talk to you. He goes, yeah. He goes, you're not playing today. And I was like, what's up? And this guy's a manager. He doesn't joke around a lot. And he goes, well, when you go to Montreal and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, you're getting called up. You didn't know that? Just joking around. And I was like, nah. So I called my mom, And I said, Mom, I got released, just joking around. And again, I've only been playing ball for like 3 years. So
Mhm.
somebody like a high prospect, a high round pick getting released in 3 years is not very possible. So when I called my mom, she was like, she's a school nurse. She's like, what the hell? I can't, she don't cuss. So,
No.
so she's at school in the office, like, I can't believe this shit, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, excuse me, and then I go, I said, no. I said, I'm going to Montreal. Then she starts screaming. So I I go to Montreal. I'd never been to Canada. I had just gotten a passport. I get there and I get to this huge stadium. And it's kind of cool because, nobody uses that stadium anymore. So it's a historic stadium that the majority of people will never see again. But it was just, it was like a dream come true, man. I can't really explain it. It was just more or less. And then again, too, like, it's different from now until then. Like, we didn't have the social media like we have now. So it wasn't like I could go on there and post and I could hear, trade deadlines and all types of stuff. It was more or less like everything was word of mouth. So for me, it was just super surprising. I knew I had the talent. I knew I had the ability, but it just never really came real. And once I got there, though, it was cool, man. It was just, you got to really see it. Like, I got to see how the game works. I got to play against guys that I've been watching since I was little. Like, I got to play against Fred McGriff, who's my favorite player of all time. Like, it was really weird because, again, I was still young, so there was guys like Dave Martinez, who's a coach for the Nationals, who was my teammate. Chipper Jones was my teammate. Greg Maddux, I just named off 2 Hall of Famers. Greg Maddux, my teammate. John Smoltz was my teammate. Bobby Cox was my coach. And I'm up there playing against my first day, Vladimir Guerrero. He's playing for Montreal. And, I was young. I didn't get to play a whole lot. Like I said, I still had shoulder injuries, so they were kind of rationing my playing time. But, I can't. Julio Franco took me to the side one day. Quick story. Because I asked him, I said, Cory, I go, Julio, I said, why? I go, you're 46 years old at the time. This was 2001. I think he was 46. He could have been 48 or 50, for all I know. But I go, why do you still play? And he took me outside to the parking lot. He goes, look outside. He goes, what do you see? He goes, I go, nice cars. I go, yeah. He goes, everybody has a nice car. He goes, when you go inside the locker room, what do you have to do? I go, nothing, to play baseball. He goes, yeah. He goes, everybody does everything for you. He goes, you make good money. People treat you well, and you get to play a game. He goes, it is a job. You get the game. He goes, and that's what I got to experience is basically, hate to say it, but being weighted on hand and foot to go play. While it is work, you are weighted on hand and foot. You don't have to do anything. And I got to experience that and just really get to live out something that I really was searching for, wanted since I was 4 years old.
So I know you play with fans, and I know you just had stated that you watch the game without fans. What is the difference with fans and not fans?
It all depends on the player. I think so. As a baseball player, and just being 100% honest, you're used to playing without fans because you play in the minor leagues, the Arizona Fall League, and stuff like that. And most of the minor league stadiums, depending on where you play at, a lot of them aren't really filled with a bunch of fans. It's actually a really good advantage for your average player because, like, I know, I'll be honest, when I got called up, that was one of my biggest issues was like huge crowds because it was new to me. So it was like, I was in September 11th game, after September 11th, he had 50,000 people. But for your average rookie right now that's in the big leagues, it's got to be kind of a weight off of his shoulder to go out there and just play freely and not worry about scrutiny and just play the game. So it's kind of an advantage to a lot of people. Even though you don't really worry about fans anyway, but, it can get in your head that at times, especially if you're not going well. Or if you haven't gotten the hit or everything's been kind of struggling a little slow, fans can kind of get in your head. But right now, it's kind of creepy. And I really don't, what I wish they would do, honestly, is I wish they would just make it more of like an old school baseball atmosphere and just take the fake fan noise out. Just play music. Like, do like they did back in the day. And they, you have guys out there, Ty Cobb or Jackie Robinson or whoever else. It's like a neighborhood game. Just put music on and play. That's what they do in spring training. It's like a pickup game. And I think that would be more fun. But it's creepy to me. It's just, it doesn't really make any sense. But I get it. it is. I don't know. I actually watch the fans more than I watch the game sometimes, so I kind of miss having the fans out there.
So outside of baseball, what other sports do you watch?
Man, I watch golf. I watch a little bit of football. I don't really get deep into sports. Like I'll watch anything. Like I'll
Mhm.
go watch. I went to go to a hockey match not long ago. I mean, not like a hockey match, but a soccer match not long ago. I'll watch anything, but I do watch golf. Girls softball.
Okay.
I love girls softball. I just love the way they play it. I coach girls softball as far as hitting. I have a handful of girls now that are going to college right now, so it's kind of sad. But yeah, it really is kind of weird because it just kind of hit me off guard because like we just been hitting and hitting, and they were like, coach, this might be one of the last times I'll see you, and like they're getting kind of teary eyed. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, oh crap, you're going to college next month,
Mhm.
or in a couple weeks. One just left, and
Mhm.
it's kind of weird. But yeah, girls softball I definitely watch. My wife got me into that, but I enjoy watching girls softball, and I don't hardly watch any basketball.
Mhm.
But I watch pretty much any sport except for really basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
What since I know you coach women's softball, what advice can you give young women about using their platforms in more so of a positive manner to talk about the issues around the globe?
Man, use it at the end of the day, man. Use it. The one thing about girls softball, they have probably the most close knit community. Girls sports in general is close knit, but number one, because they don't have a high ceiling when it comes to post college.
Hmm.
And even if you go pro, you're still getting paid like crap, and you're not getting the following. I wish there were more non-athlete women that would, non-ex-athlete women that would support more girls sports. But softball does a good job, really, of um, pushing the issue and messages. I know that there's a lot of girls, and I'm actually working on a project right now. If this COVID stuff slows down,
Hmm.
with some kind of prominent softball girls to help push kind of the agenda. But you have your Natasha Watley, your Jenny Finches, your Crystal Bustos is out there, your Kat Ostermans. You have even your younger girls right now. There's a coach right now. What's Lindsay's last name? She played at University of Texas. She used to live here. She moved to California, but she's called Just Dig In on Instagram. But
Hmm.
pushes the girl power message. It's not just girl power, but just unity, hard work, positivity, and just kind of overcoming goals. Like I hate to be just positive, 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 because without negative, there's no positive. But you have to, tackle all the agendas. But girls sports right now, just girls in general, they're really making waves all over the
Hmm.
world. And I enjoy watching it for the most part. You hate to see a lot of the pushback from people that don't like to hear truth. But
Hmm.
I'll just tell the girls right now, man, keep pushing it because I can't say your day is coming because your day is actually here now, and just kind of
Hmm.
keep riding it out, man. I think their day is here because they're because even when it comes to softball and technology, like some of those girls, like some of those softball programs have started more technology before most of the boys sports have.
Hmm.
So it's girls softball especially. I would say girls sports, but girls softball especially right now is very progressive. I just would like to see them get. I like to see them have more financial opportunity.
Hmm.
Like even like girls basketball, man. I mean, like I get it, man. Like I said, I wish they had more support from women. But I
Oh, Corey, I can't hear you. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I can hear you
all right, there
now.
we go. All right, good.
All right, can
No,
you say that again?
I really just hope that they get more, just more notoriety and more financial, possibilities, opportunities, and just really get recognized for what they do because they're really pushing the agenda.
Now I'm not going to try to get too political,
Go
but
ahead.
with the with the kneeling aspect, what all these different organizations are doing, do you think that's a trend right now, or do you think that's an honorable change in society that we see today?
So I'm gonna answer as honest as I can. I personally think it's cool right now to be conscious. Like, it's cool right now to say Black Lives Matter. It's cool right now to say plant-based diet or vegan. It's cool right now to say, what's the Me Too and things like that. The problem I have with it is that people have been posting this stuff and talking about this stuff for years. Even the whole Black Lives Matter thing. And I'll just talk Black Lives Matter right now. We've been talking about this for 400 years. All this stuff. And it's like, now it's cool to do. But the problem I have with it is, it's not helping anything. And you have this, and another problem is that people can't separate the organization of Black Lives Matter from the actual message of Black Lives Matter. Like, the majority, and I hate to say it, the majority of Black people aren't really supporting the Black Lives Matter organization because they know it's kind of run by some other people, blah, 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 blah. But we also do believe that in a situation where, yes, people are getting killed and not getting prosecuted, prosecuting the murderers, obviously racism has not gone anywhere, injustice has not gone anywhere. And I don't even want to say cops are racist, but just police brutality in general for every race right now. That it needs some sort of attention. But people are getting mad at Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter when they can't separate the two and just say, guess what, man, there is a problem. And I think it's kind of evil for somebody to say, well, it's like me saying I like cucumbers. You saying, well, all vegetables matter. No, it doesn't. Not at this moment, and there is a problem. There's a systematic problem. But I think most of it is just really that people, when you start talking about racism, people feel like you're talking about them, especially if they're non-Black, or they feel like it's an uncomfortable situation. But yet they'll say they care, but you don't want to have the uncomfortable conversation. It's just tough. So when it comes to the kneeling part of it, man, that's cool. Like, I don't look at it and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I did when Kaepernick did it because he was the first to do it for the most part, and he got crapped on. He got shit on for it. Well, that was a general, whether people agree with Cap or not, it's not about the flag. And even if it is, so what? Because the flag should protect you. But it's not about the flag. It's literally people kneeling for the harsh treatment of other people. Not even just Black people, but just injustice in general. Like, hey, look at this. We have a voice. Maybe you should care too. If you care about us as athletes, take a look at maybe what we're talking about and figure out the truth in the matter. But it's very hard for people to do that because everybody seems to think they need to be included in everybody else's struggle and success. So it's a tough one, man. I just, the kneeling is cool, I guess. I just know that, at the end of the day, action is going to be key. Donating certain monies to certain things, that's cool too. But, some of these companies that are donating are still some of the same companies that are still racially profiling. You know what I mean? So it's a tough one. I just think, like you said, I think it's just the trend is cool now. Do I think people care? Yeah, a lot of people do care. But I just think it's really cool now. But I think it's really crazy that people are mad because others care about another person. That's the crazy part.
Now, how do we get more women included into these organizations as coaches and different things of that nature?
Man, that's a tough one. They're slowly but surely getting there. I mean, at the end of the day, man, I don't really care if it's a woman or a man or whatever else it is, young or old. I mean, at the end of the day, just be qualified, man. And we know that, and let's just be honest, man. We know that the world in general is run by men, and we know that the world in general, men tend to want to be macho, especially guys that own stuff. So it is definitely hard for women to be in sports as well as it is, for anybody that doesn't look like people that own the business, I guess I would say. Just biggest thing is just be qualified. I think I just hate that there's certain situations in which I know that people, women and men, get jobs because of, whether it's nepotism or just saying I want to fill this quota of Black people or fill this quota of Hispanic people or fill this quota of women. But, at the end of the day, man, there's women that are completely qualified to do a lot of these jobs in sports. I hope they get the opportunity if they're qualified, the same way as anything else. And I know more and more right now, especially when it comes to softball and some of those girls transition over to baseball. some of these women out here right now are doing more research than some of the guys are, and they're making some headway. They're doing really well. Like I get in the cage nowadays. There's women out there teaching hitting and stuff like that, and I'm like, nice job there because you've done the research.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest thing is, right now, if you're wanting for women that want to get into sports, just like anything else, man, prove your worth. Prove you know what you're talking about because you're gonna have to. And I hate to say it that way, you're gonna have to, just as it was, for people, people of I guess say minorities trying to get jobs, you have to prove your worth. And but I know they're really. A lot of them are really, really out there proving their worth, and I'm enjoying watching what I'm seeing.
And my last question is, what are the two teams that you can see in the World Series this year?
Man, that's a tough one.
No Dodgers? No Dodgers?
That's a tough one. That's kind of early, man. The only reason I'm going to say Dodgers, man, because for the past, and like I said, I haven't watched much this year. So the last time I looked, this was a couple of days ago, the Mars was getting it in a little bit. But I like the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers, but I just hate one thing. I hate is that they and they got Mookie though right now too, and he's a winner. So that's you know what, I'm gonna take that back if they got Mookie. But the Dodgers always had good teams. They didn't know how to win because I think they focus more on paying money versus team camaraderie. But I like what Mookie's bringing to the table as far as a teammate. And you got Bellinger out there, who's also a great teammate. I'm trying to think who else I can think of, man, that might be good. I like as of right now, I like the Marlins. I'm always going to be an Indians fan, man. Always going to be an Indians fan and the Twins.
What about my Cubbies? No Cubs.
I don't know if they got enough athletic ability right. Let me think. I know we got
We're very young.
I just think that they're young. They're a good team, but they're fundamentally sound. I can't count them out. I mean, they would be, if I had to name 5 to 6 teams, they would be probably my 5 or 6. But I will. You changed my mind. I'm gonna take the Dodgers right now. I like the Twins. I like the Twins, man. Big Twins guy right now. Because they got a team full of athletes, but their team camaraderie is nice.
And do you possibly see the Astros like making some noise out there?
Man, I don't know, man. Listen, they can't win for losing right now, man. They got a dude, coach, getting suspended for fight, trying to start some mess, 20 games. But he and the funny thing is, I know Alex Cintron, man, and I hate to say it, it didn't surprise me that it happened that way. But you can't talk no noise and go hide behind 2 players. but I think the Astros are coming off a lot of negativity, and they're trying to prove themselves. It's not working. I will say this, but I really wish I could go spend a couple of days up there and just kind of, I hate, not that I know everything, but to just talk hitting with some of these guys. I know a lot of them, but it's like they just don't look like what they used to look like. And I feel like a lot of it's just pressing, trying to say, I can hit without, cheating or whatever. A lot of them are just pulling off the balls, just no plan, which was normally before they use the whole field and things like that. I just think they're trying to fight an uphill battle because of last year or whatever like that. And I just think it's like this. It's gonna take a lot for them to get back, I think, right now. And they could go on a good run, but I just personally don't see it. I think Verlander's out too, so I don't personally see it right now. I'm trying to think. I like the Blue Jays, man.
And what about the Nationals? World Series champs last year.
I like the Nationals, but they have an older team. So and if you know me, I always take the veteran teams, man. Anybody has veteran players, I love the veteran teams, man. But I think I might take it. I might take the Dodgers, man. You got me. I forgot about Mookie, man.
Yeah, because they're making some noise out there. They're making some noise,
man. That's a tough lineup too.
Yeah,
that's from 1 to 9 is a tough lineup. And all they really need is some pitching, man. I would say this. I don't know how their closing situation is going right now. That would be my biggest thing is making sure that their closer, if Kenley Jansen's still out there doing it. And I haven't checked, but if he's still out there doing it, man, that's the biggest thing for them is just getting a situation where they have a closer. And as far as their manager, man, Roberts, man, I wish he was a little more old school. Like when he played, I think he's gotten a little bit too progressive and trying to do too much. And that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I hate to second guess him because he has a good team, but they have the tools. But the team that I'm still disappointed in is the Angels, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
Like they always have the team with the players, but can't win a game.
You got a point on that.
Well, I'm just saying, like it's tough, and I've known Trout since he was 18, but it's tough for me to say that somebody's the greatest player when you're never in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least Barry got to the playoffs a number of times. He might have won anything, but you've had all this talent over the past I don't know, man, 15 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
You've had Torrey Hunters and Albert Pujols and Maxuis and Trouts and what's the dude's name? Upton. You've had all these. You've had a number of players, a number of MVPs, a number of all types of guys, but you can't go nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it just and I know a lot of it when they had social. I think a lot of it was social. Our players didn't like playing for them, from what I know, but it's tough to watch that. I mean, tough is relative, but it's tough to watch it and be like, man, y'all just paid this dude $400 million to not win. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Phillies, man. I think the Phillies got a better chance right now than my boy Harper got a better chance than Trout right now. But it's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the name of the game though now too. It's not about winning, man. It's about revenue, and we know that.
So right now, who you're picking right now? All the way, you taking Dodgers?
I'm taking the Dodgers with you. I got my boy Mookie Betts. I'm gonna put the Twins on the back burner. I like the Twins, man. They got an athletic team, man. They really do.
And before I let you go, a lot of people are talking a lot of noise about the Yankees. They feel like the Yankees are going to go all the way. Do you think it's possible that the Yankees could go all the way?
I don't know if their pitching is going to hold up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see. And the tough part about all this is that it's a short season.
Very, yeah.
So it's really tough to make it something. Like at the end of the day, really, man, if a team gets hot late, look out.
Mm-hmm.
Like when's the last day of the season for the most part? What's the last day? You know?
Not off the top of my head verbatim.
Let's just say. I mean, because they started in like July. But, if a team gets hot the last 20 games of the season, that's going to be the team that's going to be like, okay, I got to, look out. So it's tough because the season is so short and, you're not going to have, I don't know, I can't say that. But I think the season's so short, it's tough to really tell because if a team can get hot and stay hot for 60-something games. Mm-hmm. We've seen it, man. So it's really tough, man. But the Yankees got a good team, too. I just think their pitching right now is going to be, if they can get some decent pitching, they get some guys going six innings, get your stars to go 6 innings, you'll be good. Judge is good. I just think that they have Judge, they have Stanton, they're consistent is great. Mm-hmm. History has kind of proven some inconsistencies, but I mean the way Judge looks right now, his swing and everything, like his swing is tight. Mm-hmm. Like his swing, his strikeouts are down. His swing looks really nice. So they have a good team too. I'm still taking my Twins over the Yankees. Though.
All right. So you think Judge is going to be like an MVP this year, or either in the MVP conversation?
He'll be in the conversation if he stays what he's doing right now. I think he'll be in the conversation because his swing right now is the best I've ever seen it, and his balance of swing and timing. He's a tough out right now. He's not you can't just throw off speed and get him out right now. Like, and you can't just go up the ladder on a high fastball and get him out either. I saw him the other day. I think it was 2 days ago. Pitch up and away. He swung at it like it was right down the middle. I mean, I'm like, you're not fooling him right now. Mm. And with the influx of technology and being able to go watch swings and to kind of micro manage everything. That's dangerous for guys like him because if he can go out there each day and look and say, okay, well, I'm off a little bit here, that's scary because that's a dangerous guy with the bat in his hand, and he's a good outfielder. Mm-hmm. Like I think people forget how good of a baseball player Judge actually is. Like this dude has a cannon for an arm, runs awesome routes. He's athletic out there at 6'7", 6'8". He's a monster, man. He really is. I kind of forget about his defensive skills too, but the more that I remember just kind of watching him, I think he threw somebody out the other day, or he kind of went into the corner and relayed the ball and just threw a bullet to second base. And people forget like that's part of the game that's missing right now is like defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you watched the playoffs last year, it was paltry, man. Just watching Major League ball players miss routine ground ball after routine ground ball and routine infield pop-ups. Just, the game needs to get back to being more fundamentally sound versus, looking for the big hit all the time, or looking for the hardest throw all the time. There's no more knowing how to pitch. There's no more knowing how to hit. Very rarely. But that's why the Nationals won last year, because they played good baseball. Everybody played their role, from Adam Eaton to my boy Howie Kendrick to Rendon. I mean, they were, if they had to go to opposite field, they go to opposite field. They need a single, they get the single. They need a bunt, they got the bunt. It's everything right, because they're old. They're older team though.
Well, thank you for allowing me to interview you on my show, man. It's been a very blessing and humbling experience.
Anytime.
Man, I'm gonna definitely have you on my show in a couple of weeks when we talk about the playoffs. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm gonna definitely keep in touch with you, man.
Hey, now I gotta watch the Dodgers, bud. I'm gonna start watching. I'm just gonna send you random messages. Hey, man, look at my boy Mookie.
yeah, he's been killing out there. I was like, man, he definitely improves the Dodgers and the Dodgers' chances.
He improves every team, I think, just because of how he is as a teammate, man. He's a humanitarian off the field as it is, but he's just really a winner, man. He plays the game to win. It's nothing more, which is why I think their team, because Bellinger's the same way. Almost everybody, Jock Peterson's the same way. Like everybody on that team right now, as a Dodger for the most part, is playing to win games. And it's not a selfish act, and that's the thing that's what made, again, I'll say, the Nationals last year. Everybody played their role to win the ball game, not for individual stats. And either way, you can win games, but if you can have your whole team firing on each cylinder, man, dude, that's how you win championships, because you're gonna have to out team the next team, and that's it. You have to out team the next team.
Amen to that. So I'm gonna definitely have you on my show in a couple of weeks, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Let me know, man. Appreciate it.
Always, man. All right, now have a blessed one.
All right, you too.
All right, now. Bye-bye.